Hey, good morning, guys. So I just thought I'd give a quick review. A lot of people are asking me questions on YouTube concerning Tennessee steel haulers and where I run at, if they got a load board and how I like it, and how often I go home. So here's my 6-month review, and I hope this is sufficient for you. I'm not trying to make any long videos. For starters, Tennessee steel haulers, would I recommend them? What do I think about them? Let's go ahead and get into it. Do I like them? Yeah, of course I like them. I've been here 6 months, and I would recommend anybody staying at a company at least 6 months before you decide to quit and say, it's not for me, I can't do it, it's too overwhelming, or I don't like how they run, because you can learn a lot in that 6 months. In that 6 months time, where things will change, and that's what's happened here. Like the way I started running when I first started at Tennessee Steel Haulers it's not the same way that I'm running now. Like when I first started, I really was trying to be committed to my grind and just the company in itself. I had trying to figure out how to where the network is. So I stayed out 3 months. Was it 3 months? It might have been 3 weeks. I'm tripping. Yeah, I stayed out like 3 weeks, and it's basically a whole month if you ask my wife, just to figure out, like, as soon as if you come to Tennessee Steel Haulers, and right now it's probably a good time. Anybody that says it's slow, in the winter times, just don't make a move or anything like that. Maybe where they're at, it might be kind of slow, but here where you can kind of pick where you're going and what you want to do, it's not really the case. You just got to know what you're looking for, and so it helps. Yeah, it helps if you've been somewhere for the summertime or the springtime, or during the fall, whatever, before the winter got here. Of course, now you know where you want to be at in certain areas, so you're not busting in bad places or dead areas, if you would. But no, I think that Tennessee Steel Haulers would be a good fit for anybody who is looking to expand like a rubber band. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking to not only dispatch yourself, but also get home when you want and kind of make the money that you need to when you want to, if that's important to you, then this might be a good fit. I say that because with previous companies that I've been with, whether it was Belair, PNS, Decker, Hirschbach, I've been with a few companies before I came here in the 5 years that I've been truck driving. Well, I've been lease purchased pretty much that entire time, and a lot of the times when I want to make a decent amount of money, like, I'd be at the mercy of somebody picking my loads for me. Well, here the good part is that I'm just gonna speak freely. They don't really pocket watch here. I heard a driver put it to me in those terms, pocket watch. And for y'all don't know who a pocket watching is, ask somebody what pocket watching is and what that means and how that could affect, I'm not going to go there, but how that could affect what you make on a weekly basis. And for a company or a dispatcher or CS sales rep or whatever, or planners, to be pocket watching me as a driver, just in the truck going from load to load after week, because they gotta service their company, their company drivers or whatever. You don't have to compete with that here. This is an owner-operator company, and a lot of owner-operators, from what I get, they like it. For that reason also, that they have the load board and they have agents that you can work with. And a lot of these guys that I'm calling, they're not in no office in Nashville. They're sitting at home somewhere in New York or Montana. You know what I mean? Or in Florida. They're not sitting in Nashville. And don't get me wrong, we have our in-house people in Nashville who you call. Here's a prime example. As soon as you come to Tennessee, they give you access to the load board, and they also give you a list of agents. A whole list of agents where you can call their company and their phone numbers, and a primary and a secondary phone number. So it's really cool, just the resources that are available for you to be successful and make the money that you need to. All right, let's talk about the money real quick. So Could it be better? Of course. It can always be better. Money is like sleep. That's the way I put it. It can never be enough money. I can make 10K a week and I still would want to, reach a little bit more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I try to be content with, what I can do when I can do it. And you got to stay in that mindset that, you got to be content somewhere. You got to, you know what I'm saying? People are they're going to try to make their money. You got to try to make your money, and let's just grow together, and let's have good business, and let's have some type of consistency, week to week, month to month. Look at it on an annual perspective or a monthly perspective or a weekly perspective. Don't just look at one paycheck or one load you turn in and, oh man, it was in the negative. Now I still owe $500 or $600 for fuel, and I got to turn this load in, and now you're trying to kill yourself. If you don't like this, if you don't like, having a business and having expenses and that overwhelms you, maybe this is not a good fit. So that's really all I want to talk about the money, because I really don't care to just get into numbers and stuff right now. Like I got an accountant from Birmingham that I'm using that when I was with Blair. I'm still using them, and they really don't produce profit and loss statements for me. But in all fairness, I got an S corp, and I really don't produce information that I should be giving them, week after week. It's a lot to keep up with, and so I kind of submit everything at the end of the year. Honestly, I don't even really care about the profit and losses because I'm like a walking, talking, bookkeeping truck driver as I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? I kind of know what already I need to make and what's enough, but I do kind of, you know what I'm saying? I should put this on a spreadsheet, but in my head, it makes sense, where I got to be when it needs to be there. And I don't really like living paycheck to paycheck, so I make room for myself and for my business to be able to, filter money into a business account and then pay me through a paying service like ADP. I use Gusto, but there's a few of them out there that you can use. You don't have to wait for anybody to pay you on payroll. If you want to run your own payroll, I'll make another video on how to set that up. If you want to learn how to set up an S corp or a C corp, if you ever have a desire to do that with your LLC, there's certain steps you got to go through and things you got to submit to the IRS and also to the Department of Revenue and to the Department of Labor and to the Secretary of State and to your bank, and of course setting stuff up. It's kind of in that order, but not in that order. You know what I'm saying? It's for another video. Back to Tennessee Steel Haulers. Would I recommend this company? I would like to say yes. I would recommend this company because I feel like why I would recommend this company. Let me think about that real quick. I didn't write nothing down, so I'm kind of just freestyling. But I would recommend this company because they do offer, resources for you to be successful, like not just the load board, but like I said, the internal guys and the external guys. Excuse me. My dog laying on my leg. There's resources available for you to be successful here at Tennessee Steel Haulers, and it's just up to you to be able to use them and to put your best foot forward. And if you're determined, you have no reason why you're not gonna like it, or maybe I can see a few reasons why you wouldn't like it. Maybe because the money is not as coming as fast as you want, or because you gotta do certain things that you don't want to get what you want. You know what I'm saying? It's like in trucking, you kind of got to find your niche, and honestly, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have to be here, because I was at PNS and Blair, and I feel like in the 6 months I was there, I kind of found my niche. Like I found the sweet spot. Even though they were running me like crazy, I probably would have went back to Blair with my truck, because when you're at PNS and Blair, you can go anywhere with your truck. But I had put $35,000 in this truck, and then the engine blew out, and that was another $30,000. And I was like, I'm just gonna go get a new truck, because pretty much my lease is starting over, and I've only been in it 6 months, and I owe like 10 weeks of back payments, and that really wasn't a big deal. They can refinance everything for you. The good thing about Blair is they're set up for that breakdown game, and that's one thing you got to think about if you're going to be a lease operator or owner operator in the future. Yeah, it might be sweet when you get into something and the company might fade a couple bills here and there from the dealership, but Tennessee steel haulers, to my understanding, they don't really cover very much past a couple $1,000s. Like, a lot of these trucks are brand new, and a lot of them still have warranty on them. But you, as a business person, you need to strategize on how you can either, one, get some credit cards, two, get a line of credit, or I don't know, bro. I don't really know. I'm kind of still new at the whole idea of being an owner operator and making that happen. My model has kind of been just get a newer truck, you know what I'm saying, whenever things, dry up. And I gotta diversify like that. Sometimes it costs me switching companies, or sometimes that might cost me switching trucks more than I like to. But it's been a good business practice for me. A guy with an average credit, average money, what I'm saying, an average life. Like, I'm not coming into this game with money. I'm not dropping 30, 40K on a truck and then walking off the lot, what I'm saying, with 700 credit score and stuff like that. Like, that stuff takes time to get. And if you're fresh out of CDL school and you start tapping into the idea of getting a lease purchase, and before you really get a chance to save any money, well, take advantage of that while you have a little bit of bills at home, and your living expenses just in general ain't that high. Like, take advantage of that. Save you 30,000, save you 50,000, because when you do want to make a move, you're gonna have that cushion. You're gonna have that cushion for maintenance. I don't recommend really anybody getting into this unless they got at least $5,000 saved up, because stuff can happen. Like, for example, when I came to orientation, we all got new Kenworths, 2026 Kenworths, and there's about 11 of us who got Kenworths. And this was 6 months ago, and there was a recall on our trucks, and the lights were messing up. I guess I don't know if it's a stock or just an update on the system itself. I think it's an update. But one of my buddies who I was in orientation with, he needed a new harness. And anybody who knows a harness, it takes a long time to order. It takes like 2 weeks to order a harness in any dealership. So it's usually about 3 weeks. So he was down for about 3 weeks. Well, Tennessee steel haulers, they still count that money. So he ended up owing about $6K for all the stuff that was going on with this truck, and also for missed truck payments. Because when you first start, your truck payments are kind of high. Our expenses here, well, mine are probably about $1,700 a week. Mine are about $1,700 a week, and then I spend money on fuel, and then the rest is me. So it's kind of like anywhere else. The $1,700 might seem kind of high, but it's like anywhere else. If I had a $600 truck payment, it's pretty much the same thing, because with a $600 truck payment, I'm getting an older truck. Okay, yeah, but I'm putting more on maintenance. So instead of paying $300 a week on maintenance, which I pay here, and it just saves and saves and saves. Only thing I spend my money on is new tires. I get tires all the time, because I like having newer tires. Like, I just put 8 tires on my trailer, and I'm about to get probably 2 new steers, just because mine are getting kind of old. Like, I've already put 85,000 miles on my truck, and I've only had it for 6 months. So I've been running. I've been going home as much as I can, but I do like staying out too from time to time, but I do like going home. But back to Tennessee. So without further ado, so far so good. Would I recommend Tennessee? Yes, I would. And no, they don't have referral bonuses here. So if you want to do the honor of giving me a referral bonus, I appreciate it. But they just don't do that here unless you're signing up to be an owner operator. So unless you got your own truck, yeah, bring your own truck. And I'll post my driver ID, information at the bottom of the description of this. But yeah, Tennessee steel haulers, they're decent. Their orientation, I believe, is only a few days, and this isn't a video about orientation or the whole process, but basically you go to Nashville for 4 days. You pick a truck out, you bring it back to the terminal, you load it up with all your equipment. Thursday, Friday, you're getting a load, and you're out of there. They give you lunch every single day in orientation, and they also have a shuttle bus that goes back from the hotel, which has breakfast, and it's decent. It's just on the north end of Nashville, and you got to find your own transportation there. That's the only thing about their orientation. and there's no sign-on bonus right now. And what else? You don't really come into this like owing a bunch of money, like I did when I was with Blair. I mean, when I started with Blair, like right out the gate, and I brought my own equipment, and I still owed like $3,000 almost, you know, coming into the door. And I brought all my equipment, but they charge you like $1,600 up front for, you know, if the taxes and stuff, and all your license plates and stuff. They charge you them up front. So that's right up front. Everybody at that company at Blair, they, you know, this is not a video about Blair either, and I'm not making no videos about Blair. I made enough videos about PNS and Blair, and when I was having breakdown issues. But Tennessee is not like that. They space everything out, and some of the stuff they pay for. Like, what is it? The California emissions tests I paid for. They ask you if you want it with your truck. You don't have to get the California emission test when you come here, but you can pay for the registration, and you can pay, you know, $30 to have the test done at a facility of your choice whenever you want. So I paid for that, and I had it, but I never used it. And then I got a California load. I got an oversized load from Cofield, North Carolina, all the way to San Bernardino, California. And so my plan was to do the emission test on the way there, and they almost not gave me the load, and they was paying like $7,000 to the truck. And that's another thing. When they post the load, they tell you what the truck's gonna pay. I mean, what the load's gonna pay to the truck, including fuel surcharge, cut and dry. They post the load, it's at a 72% rate or a 75% rate, and it's, okay, do you want it or not? And then a lot of times you can say, yeah, but is that the 72% rate or 75% rate? And they say, oh, that's a 72. Okay, can I get the 75? Like, you can always ask so you can negotiate. Or can I get 80%? Because I got a deadhead, you know, 300 miles there. If it's somebody sitting at home, they might not give it to you. I'm just being real with you. But if somebody's sitting in the office, that it's not it's not like a contract like from Caterpillar or something like that. They can't, sometimes they can't negotiate, or they can't give you more money off these loads. But sometimes they can, though. If it's a load that they can get, like the load I got now, let me show you. This load right here, sorry, it's kind of loud out here. This little load right here, you guys see them all the time, right? See them all the time. Picked this load up in Chambersburg, PA, and the load was paying $4,500 to the truck. Well, that load was paying $4,500 to the truck. So I basically asked them, like, hey, you know, can you give me some more money? And he said, yeah, I could probably do the 75. Okay, what's the 75 put us at? It put it from like 45 or 46 to 49. And so like 49.50. And I was like, can you just make it even 5? And he's like, well, I'm already going up on the rate. We'll stay at, you know, the 49. I'll give you the 75%. I'm not going higher than that. But so just to let you know, there is more money there. You just have to ask. I don't do that all the time. Like, I don't burn it up. Don't come to Tennessee Steel Haulers trying to ask everybody for more money and trying to negotiate like you're dealing with a bunch of brokers. These are, you know, Tennessee guys. They got to make their money too. So come in this, if you come here, you know, come with some sort of understanding. Like I said, they got to make their money. You got to make your money and go about your business. You know, don't come here and be like, oh man, they could have gave me this, they making that off of it, and then, you know, now you pocket watching and you worried about what this business is doing to, you know what I'm saying, to stay afloat. They got people to feed, they got mouths to feed too, they got bills, lights to pay, just like you do. And so, I mean, do what's good for you and your business, but like I said, know what that dog hair on me, know what you're signing up for, man, when you come here. And that way it'll save you the despair or complaining or the bad attitude whenever you get into something. And if you go into it with the mindset, like, you know, I got expenses, this is what I make every week, this is what I need to make $3,000 every week to cover my expenses, my, you know, like my fuel, all my fuel and all my truck payment and all my insurances and stuff and all my tolls, you know, I need to make $2,500, and then I need to make another $2,500 so I could bring home $2,500, or another $3,000 after that so I could bring home $3,000. Then know that you need to make about 5 or 6K to the truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean by know your numbers. Know your numbers. Only when you know your numbers can you be successful. You don't have to have a 6K week every week, or you don't have to have a 8K week every week. Sometimes, take it easy. Just have like a 5K week, or 4.5 or something like that. You got to get home. So, you kind of took a hit. You didn't make as much money as you could because, it's just better to get home, and then you find something at the house later. And sometimes my weeks play out like that. And I mean, I'm married. I got babies at home. Like, I'm thankful I got an understanding wife, but I got to give a little bit too. So my situation might be a little bit different than yours, but in my situation, that's kind of how it plays out. I got to give a little bit too, but I also knew what I was signing up for and where their lanes are, where their freight is. And if you're in an area where you're within, a 200-mile radius of some loads, you might have a couple options consistently here at Tennessee Steel Haulers. Let's talk about it. So the loads at Tennessee Steel Haulers, pretty much they are direct customers. It seems like contracts and stuff. And so far in the 6 months that I've been here 6 months since June. Let me see, July, August, September, October, November, December. So January. Actually, this will be my 7th month here at the end of January at Tennessee Steel Haulers. But the loads have been pretty consistent. I mean, we have 3 terminals in Laredo, Texas, Clarksville, Tennessee, and in Cofield, North Carolina. And the terminal in Nashville, they don't produce nothing. I mean, they don't produce like any loads. You have to go to Clarksville, the middle one I named. You got Laredo, Clarksville, and Cofield, North Carolina. But out of all those 3 places, they have loads. Those are not the only places you get loads at. You get loads a lot of places. Like, I was in Ohio, and I was in Pennsylvania, and I looked up 200-mile radius, 300-mile radius, and there's 4 places to pick up, for example. And so the load board works like you put in your destination where you want to go, and you put in the radius, and then it'll show you what's available, and you can extend that radius more and more to 100 miles all the way down to 1,000 miles, depending on how much you want to deadhead. And that's a whole nother topic right there, deadheading too. And if deadheading is something that bothers you, then maybe Tennessee might not be a good fit, or maybe truck driving might not be a good fit, because that's kind of just part of it. Don't be scared of a little deadhead. Like my buddy Kevin says, don't be scared of a little deadhead. Just keep it moving. And that's key right there to being successful too, at not only this company, but just in trucking in general. Understand that you're dealing with a lot of companies that have customers. So you got to get back to those customers to get your money. Just go get it. Stop complaining. Get back in the lane, get back in their little network, and go get it. And then go get, you know what I'm saying? Service that. You got to think of your truck, you driving this truck like a service. All you're doing is servicing whatever field you're in, whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever division you're in. And when that dries up, maybe it's time to diversify a little bit. And with this company that I like, that they have a lot of agents that they work with, and it's been different. Like, I've been going different places, like even this week, like it's, I'm doing different stuff, doing different loads. Even, guys are like, oh yeah, we're off to a good start. I'm getting a load from Pennsylvania to Arizona, paying $5,000 to the truck. That's fine with me. I'm going to deliver it Tuesday and have, made a couple thousand, and all my bills are going to be paid on Tuesday. And then, I can pick up a load probably, on Wednesday and deliver it before Friday and get another, 1,000 in or whatever, and at that point it really don't matter. Like, that's enough money just for starting the month off or the year off, the first week of the year. And not to mention, I'll get out of the Northeast. So yeah, this is probably all I got to say about Tennessee, man. Is if you come here, just know what you're signing up for, and just have a good attitude about it, and it'll work out for you. And just stay positive, man. Stay safe while you're out here, while you're doing it, and keep between the mustard and mayo, and you'll be all right. And if you want to come here, like I said, they don't really do driver referrals, but if you have any questions, just comment in the comment section, and I'll shoot you an email. If you want to exchange numbers, I can call you, and you can hear me talk all day if you want. I ain't got nothing but time on my hands, but and some tattoos. But yeah, y'all be cool, stay safe, and remember, chase your dreams, because they won't chase you back. All right, y'all.